Welcome to PLUSone, the series where I look at the free monthly games on PlayStation Plus and tell you if they're worth the download. After all, the games may be free, but your time is valuable. Today, I'm looking at TORQUEL. TORQUEL? TORQUEL? I'm gonna call it TORQUEL. A puzzle game released in 2014 by Japanese developer Full Power Side Attack. This is totally a Flash game, I'm just gonna come out and say it. It gives me a huge Newgrounds vibe to it, and that's not a bad thing at all. You control a character inside this box who moves inside it like a hamster inside a wheel. The game's gimmick is that each side of the box can extend a leg outward depending on which face button the player presses. Each side of the box corresponds to one button: X, square, circle, or triangle. Players must navigate to the goal at the end of each stage in order to move on. The game has 50 stages in total, with new mechanics popping up every few levels, like anti-gravity sections, lava, or physics-based platforms. The gimmick of having each button correspond to a side of the square is an awesome one, although it's uniquely draining on me as a player. I usually really enjoy puzzle games, but this one taxed me mentally in a way I'm not used to. I think it's because the game likes to make you think and change which leg you have out on the fly. If I press X, my brain wants to think that the bottom leg will shoot out, but in reality, my box is sideways, so I may launch myself into certain death. Whenever I'd start getting used to it enough, I'd blow through a few stages, only to get hit with the game's big flaw: its inconsistent difficulty curve. Some levels are just a total pain, and they come out of nowhere. TORQUEL doesn't lend itself well to tight spacing or quick timing, but the game likes to rely on these very often. Because of this, unless you are really persistent, the game may not be for you. However, if you're a completionist, this game will have a ton of value. There are 8 different routes you can take through the levels, with some levels having hidden exits. Certain levels will only show up in certain routes, so you'll only really experience maybe 30% of the game in any one route. There are also trophies for beating the game in increasingly short amounts of time, so the game will be incredibly replayable for those who want to complete it. I am not one of those people. I think my favorite part of the game is actually the music. The soundtrack will only play when you move, and it will play forwards or backwards depending on which direction you're moving in. I've seen that sort of thing before, but it's always a nice little touch when it's done, and it makes the game all the more satisfying when you blow through a level. The music also layers on instruments as you get further and further into the game. Visually, it's nothing to write home about, although I do have to note that the PS4's light bar will change colors depending on which side of the box you're standing on. Pink for square, blue for X, and so on. I always really like when a developer uses the light bar in unique ways, so I appreciated that touch. Also, the game's translation is not good. I think the idea behind this game is really innovative, but it's also incredibly frustrating. If you're into puzzle games though, it's definitely something to plus one to your collection, at least to give it a shot. If you're not a big puzzle game fan, or you're easily frustrated, this game probably isn't a good pick for you. It's only 400 megabytes, so it's a tiny download by PS4 standards, and it's also available on the PS Vita, which means you can play it on the go in bursts. The game runs $10 regular price. At that price, if you're watching this video after it's no longer free, I don't know if it's going to be worth it unless you really enjoy playing puzzle games multiple times. Even at the great price of free, it's certainly not a game for everybody. Thanks for watching, and if you want to find out if more of this month's free games are worth a spot on your system, be sure to subscribe.